Hey, what's up, YouTube? What's up, world? Matthew here. My face is a little messed up right now. You have to excuse me. It's part of the story, actually. So, this is a pretty unfortunate video, but I have to make it. And the reason that I have to make this video is in hopes to protect people from being raped. Because, and pardon me for eating. I hope the best to you and your hunger and your appetite and everything. So, what this, like I said, this video is not revenge. This video is not an attack. This video is an exposure of somebody in hopes that someone else is not hurt by them or raped by them. And so what happened was, I'm here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the United States of America, and I get an Airbnb in Las Vegas for a month. I get a month-long Airbnb, which, ironically enough, just for the sake of the facts, I'm going to be real, I don't even think Airbnbs are legal in Nevada or in Las Vegas right now. I know they weren't a couple years ago or a year ago, just because of the rules and the regulations of landlords and standards and stuff like that. But people were doing them anyway. So I don't know if since then they've become legal. I think they were in the process of being legalized. But whatever the case, I even knowing that it was possibly illegal, I had to buy Airbnbs because I needed a place to stay and it was available, and life doesn't always co-align with the United States of America and all their laws, because sometimes their laws don't make any sense, and sometimes, their laws are to take advantage of people and make more money for the government. So it's hard to tell, because the government is not God. The government is not the Ten Commandments. The United States government is not the Christian God. People say it's a Judaic Christian system, and people say, it's a Judaic Christian country, and but it's not. The United States of America is not God. It never has been God, and it never will be God, and the government will never be God. So that being said, I get an Airbnb for a month. I have about $700 saved up, and I want to, what my plan is to stay at the Airbnb for a month and then go back to California, find a place to rent, and start working in California. I was ready to kind of vacate Las Vegas. I love Las Vegas. I love the people, no disrespect. It was just my path, my journey at the time was to go back to California. Well, I go into this Airbnb that's in this guy's apartment. He has a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. And when he's a DJ, his name is Will, and his DJ name is KnowleDJ. His name is like Will Ramadan, or it's a Muslim name, it's an Islamic name, and he's a DJ for like pop stars around the world. Cool, more power to you, bro. And I don't have anything against his race or his culture or his religion or anything. It has nothing to do with it. So, sorry, I apologize for that. So the first month that I'm there, which is what I was only supposed to be there for, was my plan was to drink and relax. My plan, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I drink alone. I don't go out and drink. I don't drink and drive. I don't drink and go try to fight people and drink and go be crazy. No, I drink and I go watch movies and go to bed. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's relaxing, it's therapeutical to me, and it's how it's like my vacation. So I'm starting to do that that month that I'm there, and his roommate is still living in the apartment, this woman, right? And here's the part where I have to stick up for myself and say, I should have been more responsible with my money and with my choices, but the more spiritually aware you get and the more spiritually older you get, you learn about the influence of the people around you and the spiritual realm around you. Because if you are out in the forest or the desert alone and you have everything you want and you're just at peace with yourself, you're not going to have the same temptations and distractions as living in an apartment complex with other people who struggle with addiction, other people who maybe want to see you fail, other people who don't like you, or other people who think that they have a better plan for you than your own, whatever it is. Those are spiritual influences. And if you're unaware of that, and it sounds like something you'd want to be more aware of to defend yourself and to have a better life, then pray about it. Pray for awareness, pray for comfort and understanding and revelations on being aware of that. Because if you spend your whole life unaware that you are around suicide witches or depression witches or people trying to do deals with your money or your finances or trying to take advantage of your life, you're going to think, oh, that's just me, that's just God, or that's just my life. No, that's not the case. So I got swept up. His roommate, this woman, she started banging on my door, talking to me, telling me I need to find a job. And I'm like, oh my God, I was supposed to just sleep for a whole month and then go back to California. And she's like, well, you should start. And I let her get in my head. Instead of just telling her, go away, please, I don't know you, I don't need to know you, I'm here to be alone in this Airbnb, which by the sake was filthy. The sheets weren't washed. The bathroom was covered with piss and urine and other bodily fluids. And it was disgusting. I had to clean the whole place. And by the time he came back, it was anyways. The kitchen was a mess. The floor was a mess in the whole house, in the whole condo. The place was disgusting. And she didn't clean it either. And so so she got in my head, right? And then he started to get in my head. And then he started to get in my head. How? Well, what I came to be aware of was that he wanted a consistent roommate, I think, because she was moving out of the extra room and bathroom. And she was not paying rent, come to find out. She was not paying rent to him. She just left without paying any rent to him. He acted like it didn't even matter. And now I know why. Is because I'm guessing that either she was raped or trespassed in a way that she used it as leverage to basically get free rent. And that's not, I have no facts behind that, but that's my guess. Because the way that she just skated off without paying rent and he didn't even care about it was so weird and so funky to me. And then after I got violated and trespassed by him and his friend and his girlfriend or whatever, I realized, oh, so she was kind of trying to like play the chess piece over there. Like, I have something over you. I'm going to milk this free rent thing as much as I can. That's what my perspective. I don't know if it's true. That's just my guess. Like I said, there's no facts or evidence behind that besides my intuition and my observations. So what happened was he started texting me during this month, which was completely unnecessary. My Airbnb was fully paid. I had no interest in a relationship with this person. I never reached out to him asking for any friendship or any type of business relationship because I'm a musician also. But he kept texting me, hey, what's up? Hey, how's this? How's that? And it was like worry spells. It wasn't like texting. It didn't feel genuine. It felt like he was trying to put worry spells on me, whether it was for his own stimulation or I don't care. But whatever the point, it was annoying and unwanted. So eventually he came back after the first month. And when he came back, I had moved into the old room because even though I had told myself that I was supposed to plan and leave and go back to California, like I said, I let him get in my head. If I could go back in time, I would stick to the plan that I had with the money that I had and follow through with it. But I let these people get into my head because she wanted me to fill her spot and pay him rent so that he wouldn't hound her or something like that. And he wanted to have someone in the other room so he would have that income consistently and he could also rent out his room. And so they wanted me, they kept trying to convince me, oh, move into this room, get a job, move into this room. And I did. Because I was like, at that point, I hadn't met this person. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, I need a place to rent consistently and work and live, and to rent and work, and if I have one here with all my stuff, okay, it might be better than California. So I convinced myself to go along with their plans, which was a mistake. And looking back, I look at it as a mistake. And so once he gets there, he's like all friendly and like, hey man, you want to go out and take pictures and work on music or go do YouTube or whatever? I'm like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. Like I kind of have a life, and I'm not really trying to like, network or whatever, but like I entertained it as a friendship. And prior to him coming there, I am 99% sure that his female roommate ate my food. Like I had these Jimmy Dean breakfast bowls that are like $3 each that I bought a specific amount for the week. I'm very technical. I'm very organized. If I buy 8 $3 meals for the week, I scheduled 8 $3 meals for the week. So, and I'm, like I said, I plan the whole month there to drink and sleep. But that, just because I am relaxing and drinking alcohol does not give someone else the right to steal or rape or trespass. No, I don't care what you say. Anywhere in this country, anywhere in the world, just because someone is drugged or unconscious or whatever the fact, does not give other people the excuse to touch them, to take advantage of them, to rape them, to steal from them, to anything. There's absolutely no excuse for that behavior at all. The only type of behavior I could support that some people would call questionable is self-defense. And that's like self-defense. We all know what that is. So when he so she had already stolen some of my food, right? And as far as I could tell, like I very rarely make mistakes like, oh, my food's missing, or oh, my money's missing. No, it's more likely me to just be like, oh dang, I drank the whole bottle and I'm zonked and I'm 8 hours overtime over what I should have been doing. And that is much more common than me to be losing things or misplacing things. It's more common for me to just sleep through a job or ignore a job or wake up half drunk and then be like, decide I don't want to go to my job. That is common, but for me to lose things or lose money is not common. I've given stuff away, but I eventually remember it and recollect it. Like I recollect that at the time, I went out drinking to the 7-Eleven in the area of the place I was staying. I'm making this whole video about. And there was one point, I had a couple of $1 bills. I just threw them on the floor. I was in such a good mood and I was so happy. I just threw $1 bills around the street, left them in trees, left them on the ground, left them in bushes, and they all got picked up, and that's fine with me. It was a charity act. It was probably insane and goofy to watch from another person's perspective, but it was a charitable act, and that's what it was, and I remembered it, and I did it, and even though I was drunk when I did it, I'm okay with that, and I chose to do it, and that's that. So looking back, if I was sober, no, I wouldn't have done it. I would have kept the money and saved the $10 or the $20 or whatever it was, but I did it when I was drunk and I remembered it and I accepted that. So he comes back, and right off the bat, it's weird. It's like I feel like he's looking down on me. He keeps telling me what I need to do. He keeps telling me, you need to do this and you need to do that. And I'm like, dude, I rent from you. You're my landlord. That's it. You're not my life coach. You're not my dad. You're not my bro. You're not my manager. You're my landlord. First, you were a host at Airbnb, which means you should be even more backed off. And now that I moved into your other room, you're my landlord. That's it. That's all you are. I pay rent to you. If you don't want me here or you don't like the way I live, tell me and I'll move out. I don't need you to coach me. I don't need you to speak to me and ask me how I am. So that was the first red flag. The second red flag is that when I would go in my room, and try to be by myself, him and his girlfriend and his friends or whatever would start doing weird things. They would start making noises on the walls or on the door or at the same exact time that I would. So it was like they were stalking me, and every time I would make a noise loud enough for them to hear in the room over, they would match it. Or they would start talking. Or every time I said something to myself, because I talk to myself, I talk to Jesus all the time. They would engage through the wall in a different room with my conversation with Jesus to myself. I see it as a form of worry witching, as a form of them trying to get nuts, trying to get sexual stimulation off bothering someone else. It's such basic common witchcraft. It frustrated me so much. I was like, dude, now I know why I don't want to be here, because of this petty nonsense. This guy thinks he's some world-class DJ who's some big superstar, and he's over here banging on the wall, pestering me and stalking me so him and his girlfriend can get off on it. And then I went out to the kitchen, which eventually I had to quit eating in the kitchen, because every time I would go in the kitchen, they would come out and stand around me and put their crotches around me and put their farts and their breath around me and their whatever and their nut. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to eat. I don't want to be around your excuse my language, Jesus Christ, your filth and your voodoo and your witchcraft. I'm a Christian. I absolutely participate in 0% of voodoo and witchcraft. And you're not going to, you have no right to be doing it to me. As a child of God, just because I rent a room from you does not give you the right to break religious laws and boundaries against me. It doesn't. And then there was my food started showing up missing from him. And then one time he came in and opened the refrigerator and took out one of the bottles of water I had paid for, and he just opened it right in front of me and started drinking. I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, sorry." I said, "That's my water I paid for, man. I can't afford to feed us both." And he's like, "Well, you're allowed to use and eat anything in this house." And I'm like, "Okay, but I can't afford to feed two people. I appreciate your graciousness in you offering to give me any food and any, drinks that you have in your house, but I'm not returning the favor." I made it clear that day that I don't approve of him eating my foods or drinking my drinks, because I can't afford to, and it's not welcomed. I don't have the same attitude as him about that. So that's the second or third red flag. Then, in the middle of the night or at odd hours, I would hear people, and mind you, I had a private bathroom. I specifically paid for a private bathroom. Now, unlucky for me, it was in the hallway where everyone else walked around. His private bathroom was in his bedroom. Mine was not. And I heard people going, I'm like suspicious. I hear people going in and out of the bathroom, and then there's urine stains on the wall. And that's voodoo too, if you don't know. You might think it's just vandalization, but it's not. It's pissing spells. It's urine spells. And there's urine stains on the walls, on the toilet, in the bathtub. And I'm like, okay, I don't think this is going to work for the long term. I really don't think it is. So I had got my room. There was no smoking inside the room, which I did not do. But what I did do was exercise every right I had to develop the same mental space that I had when I had my own apartment. When I had my own apartment, me and my ex-wife, we played TV all the time. Not all the time, quite often. The majority of the time, we either had the TV on or we had natural ambience playing in the background, which, like rain noises or other stuff like that. Rain noises, rainforest noises, jungle noises, just stuff, because both of us had a lot of, I don't know about her, but I had a lot of anxiety, and that was how we dealt with it and how she dealt with it. It was awesome. It was nice, and that's how we ran our apartment. We didn't blow out our neighbors. We didn't harass our neighbors. The only thing that happened at our apartment that anyone could hold against us was that I smoked weed in the apartment, and it was supposed to be a non-smoking apartment complex. So I violated the lease by smoking weed in the apartment, and I could definitely see how neighbors who moved into a non-smoking apartment complex would be very bothered by that. But that's completely irrelevant from this video. And so anyways, here I am 2 years later in Las Vegas, and I'm renting a room from this guy who was originally an Airbnb host. His name is Will Ramadan, whatever, and no disrespect to the Muslims and Islams, I just don't know how to say his last name. And his DJ name is KnowleDJ. DJ Knowledge or Knowledge DJ. He drives this little purple Mitsubishi Eclipse that says Knowledge DJ on the license plate. So, and apparently he has a lot of European fans. And he tours with like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and stuff like that. You know, like pop stars from the 90s and 2000s. So eventually, one night, in the middle of the night, when I have my TV and my nature noises going, so I don't have to hear them bang on the wall and talk to me through the walls when I'm trying to be, and I don't have to hear them messing with the bathroom. And out of nowhere, he bangs on the door. You got to turn that crap down, you mother effer. It's too loud. It's too much. And I'm like, dude, it's not. Just because you don't appreciate, it was reasonable volumes. You could hear it from outside the room, but that was because it was playing inside the room. That's like saying you can't play a TV in a room and expect it to be silent unless it's on mute. And unfortunately, for me to have a room, I have every right to play TV any hour I want to and play, you know, reasonable music volumes and nature noises. Now, if it comes to a point where he does not want that in his apartment, and then tell your tenant that, and give your tenant your 30 days. Hey, you got to move out. I don't like your style. I need someone who's more quiet or hear less, and that's that. But he didn't do that. What he did was bang on my door in the middle of the night and threaten me. And so the way that I handled it was I told him, dude, I'm not going to argue with you. If you got a problem, we can go outside and handle it. We can go outside and fist fight. We can squabble. We can squash it. And I almost promise you it'll be better after that. We're going to respect each other more, and we're going to keep each other's space. And he didn't want to. He backed down and he said, no. I don't have to. I don't want to. I'm going to hurt you, blah, blah, blah. Some BS about a fist fight, okay? I challenge about, even if he would have, you'll see where this relates later on in the story. But the way he was playing it off was bogus. He was like, no, I don't want to have to hurt you, blah, blah, blah. It was a bunch of nonsense. He cowered from the fight on every occasion, but he denied that to everyone. He denied it. If he would have wanted to fight me, whether wrestle me or tackle me or fight me or kick me or poke my eyes, then I offered him to do it. I said, let's go outside and fight for the whole complex to see, so they know what happened, so it's settled like that, and that's that. And that's how I was raised. And the last time I had a problem with my neighbor, I did the same thing when I lived in Sacramento. He was calling me a scrap through the window. He would walk by our window and say, scrap, scrap. And eventually I went outside and I said, hey, bro, you got a freaking problem? We can handle it right now. No, I don't have a problem. Okay, then that's that. And then I don't think I heard any more scrap talk after that. But in the meantime, this guy, so I told him, I'm like, dude, I offered him, he kept banging on my door, being violent, being aggressive. I told him it's in my rights to play this TV and play the nature noises. And then at that point I said, dude, I'm going to leave on the 1st. It's over. I'm not going to rent from you anymore. I'm not going to do it. There's nothing here for me. It's not going to work between us. We don't cope. We don't live together well. It's not going to work. I'm going to leave on the 1st. That's that. Please. And then I told him very blatantly, I said, in the name of Jesus Christ, don't touch me. Don't look at me. Don't think about me. Don't talk to me. And this was at the height of like him harassing me and banging on my door, telling me to turn things down. When just when it was beyond that. It was beyond turning things down. It was not an obnoxious noise. It was not loud like stereo speakers. It was a 20-inch computer monitor with the speaker built in that could barely go loud enough for certain YouTube videos to even hear, to even be heard. Like even at full volume, there's the YouTube movies on YouTube, the YouTube like rental movies were not loud enough to hear clearly, unless you're like, they're not, barely. So that goes to tell you how loud that TV monitor got. And so the next thing he attacked was my drinking. Oh, you need to quit drinking. You're da, da, da. And I bought into it. I'm like, you're right, man. I got a drinking problem. I should quit. And within a couple days, I realized, no, he's getting off on himself, trying to play God or play this doctor or addiction. And I'm like, no, I want to drink. I want to relax at night. I'm still here and I have the free time. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to let him put fear in my heart about drinking or let him make me afraid to drink when I'm trying to mind my own business. I'm not trying to mess with anybody else. I'm trying to sit back and be alone and spend time with God and relax at the end of the day. And I'm not going to let a human being, an evil thief and a liar who's treacherous and selfish and has bad intentions for other human beings, I'm not going to let him put fear in my heart to either stop drinking or live in fear. I'm not going to do it. So then what happened one night was I got some money. I got everything, all the supplies I wanted. I had picked up like weed. I had picked up like the food that I wanted. I was in terms of like having a chill vacation spot or having a chill spot to finish up my vacation, I was set. I had got, like I said, I got the weed that I wanted. I got the alcohol. I got a bottle of Kessler and a 32 ounce of MGD. And I was so ready just to sit back for a couple days and drink and watch movies. I don't know. And I'm a Christian and I plan this out with God and let you know. And I say this, no matter how bad or hard this sounds like God let me down, that is not the case. I trust God's path 100%. I will never lose faith in God. I will never say something bad happened to me because it was God's will. No, I trust God's plan for my life 100%. And so what happened was I was all set up. And as you can maybe remember or guess, that these people would, every time I would go to buy a drink, I don't know if I said this, but every time I would start to go buy a drink, they would wait, they would listen. They would plan and wait for me to start drinking. They would sit in their room, and as soon as I started drinking and they heard the bottle set down, they would start moving around. They would start making noises or talking to themselves about me, like doing weird types of witchcraft and mental manipulation from the next room over. And it was such a unhealthy and annoying, toxic environment. It was insane. And there was a couple times where like they would do stuff to test me and pester me, like bang on my door and talk to me through the wall and bang on the wall and stalk my every movement. And there was a couple times where eventually I was like, you mother, and I started yelling and I told them like, leave me alone, like very aggressive. I didn't touch them and I didn't threaten them, but I very aggressively, the same way that it was self-defense. Now looking back, it would have been better for me just to remain silent and go about my own program in my own life. But no one's perfect. No one is, and sometimes people snap when you screw with them. When you just keep screwing with them, sometimes people lash back eventually. And if you ask me, a verbal lashback for the mistreatment I had dealt with from him was nothing. Was very, very, that's like someone pulling out a gun and shooting at you 5 times a week, and then you punch him one time and being like, oh, okay, well the person who punched him is the evil one, is the bad person. That's not true. That's a bunch of nonsense. But that's how those people are. Those evil people and those manipulative extortionists and rapists and just thieves, that's how they are. They'll screw you over so bad, and the minute you finally turn around and fight back, they'll guilt trip you with a million different guilt trips, how it's your fault, how you're the one who caused the problem, blah, 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 blah. And it was insane. So going back to this night, it was a perfect night. I had finally got some money. I had got all the food, like I said, the weed, the alcohol. I was so ready just to lock myself in the room, put up my blankets over the door so none of their dirty air from their bathrooms and the stuff they would leave around and their nastiness and their drugs and their meth or whatever, none of it would go onto me and come in my room. Because if you know anything about voodoo and witchcraft, that's like all they obsess about, is getting their farts and their meth and their breath and their urine and their nut on to someone else. They can't just live their life happily. They can't just focus on their own life and their own people. They have to mess with an innocent Christian or mess with someone who doesn't want anything to do with them. And that's why I hate them so much, those type of people. I don't hate all witches. I don't hate any of all race. I'm not racist. I appreciate all different religions and people, but unfortunately, with my religion, which is the creator of witchcraft is birthed from Christianity, from Satan. That is a huge objective of these witches, these petty witches who don't know their limits, is to harass unwilling and unwanting people. So I mean, like, my drinking record is like, on a normal night, like on an easy laid back night, like a quarter bottle of vodka, of 80 proof vodka. On a night where I want to go to sleep a little deeper, maybe half a bottle of vodka. I'm a heavy drinker. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna lie. I could down half a bottle of vodka in a normal drinking time, and wake up the next day and feel good and be like, I got good sleep. I'm not saying it's a healthy habit or something God really promotes, but it's something I accepted as a part of my life in that time. And I was still at peace with God. And there's other nights where I'd finished a whole bottle. There's other nights where I'd finished a whole bottle in a 6-pack. There's other nights where I finished 3/4 of a bottle and 3/4 of a bottle and then a 40 in a 6-pack. Excuse me just a second. And so it was not uncommon for me to put down a decent amount of liquor and just wake up the next day in bed. And now, in order for me to really like have some consequences, I would usually have to either be at a party, like out at a party, and that's like the only time, or living around thieves, not anything by myself. Like there was times, like it's one thing to go out and look for a drink. That can be dangerous if you're a drinker, if you're like halfway drunk or like partially intoxicated or whatever, but that's not the same as being taken advantage of while you're unconscious or while you're blackout drunk, because that is a completely different situation. That is traumatizing. So I'm sitting back and I'm watching Tales from the Crypt, and I'm, I take a couple guzzles of my 32 of my MGD beer, and I take a couple solid guzzles of the Kessler, probably about like 2/3, there was probably like, to be honest, like 5/8 of the bottle left, either a little bit less than half or a little bit more than half when I had finally woken up. So I didn't drink that much. I drank like roughly, I think less than half a bottle, and also like a little bit of beer. That is nothing compared to what I've drinking in the past. And what happened was, this was like Saturday night or Sunday night. And what happened was, I drank some and I laid down next to my bed. And mind you too, my bedroom is locked, and I put my own lock on it because he would not supply me a key, and my bathroom's locked also. So what happened was, I woke up like over a whole day later, and that is very uncommon for me when I drink. I usually wake up within 8 or 10 hours after I'm done sleeping, or I wake up in about half a day the next day. I have never, that I can ever remember, after drinking a little bit less than half a bottle and a little bit of beer, woken up over 24 hours later. Never. So what I think happened was, and like I said, I'm making this video to expose this person for the way he treated me in his house. Not only did I have my food and the supplies I had bought and stolen, like, the harassment and the mistreatment from him, and the urine and the peeing and the filth in the house, and then leading up to this. If it would have just been that, I would have just gone on to my next place to live. I wouldn't have even left him a bad review. But it's what happened here is that what was the issue. So, like I had said, my room was locked, and I had actual blankets and towels that I had fashioned over the cracks of my doors and over his walls, so the sound would not go in his interest. So the sound would bounce off acoustically and come and stay in my room. And then the towels and the blankets over the door would block out the air from the rest of the condo and keep the air in my room clean. My own air. I didn't want their bathroom air. I didn't want their cooking air. I didn't want their drug air or their sex air or their urine air or their any of it. So I wake up over 24 hours later, over a whole day later, and that has never happened to me. So right off the bat, the first thing, and like I said, this is the part where I'm going to let your imagination step in. If you don't want to believe this, don't believe it. If you want to think of that guy and go buy his services and rent from him and go in his Airbnb and put yourself at risk, be my guest. Just remember that the first woman who lived in that room got off with a month and a half not paying rent, and he didn't even care. He didn't even say a thing. He acted like it was meant to be. I was like, bro, she ripped you before. This is before that night. I was like, dude, she ripped you off. She jacked you for like 2 months rent and took off and didn't even pay you. And not to mention, she was running your washing machine, running up your bill. I'm like, what are you talking? I'm like, how do you just accept that? And he was just like, oh, you know how people are. It's no big deal. And to me, that was really weird that he just accepted that. So keep that noted. And then here I am now in her room, and I wake up, and right off the bat, like I said, when I was younger and I partied around other people, there was times where I had been violated, possibly raped, definitely stolen from, etc., etc. There were plenty of, but I was young and I got over it. I that's what happens when you get super drunk in public and you're out at party surfing, going to different parties. You got to be careful. I was young. I learned my lesson. That is not the same thing as this. I was intentionally drinking alone. I intentionally asked a person to not touch me, not talk to me, not trespass, not touch my things, not enter in my property or in my space at all. And just because someone is drunk and gets up to go to the bathroom does not give you the right to manipulate them or get in their head or follow you into their room or whatever. So I think what happened was, I think what happened is, after I had drank the Kessler and the beer, I was still pretty boozed up that night, and I'm pretty sure that I went to the bathroom. I got up, I took down my door blocker, I unlocked my door, and I went to the bathroom. I have no recollection of this, but somehow my door was unlocked. Maybe I did not go to the bathroom. Maybe they just banged on my door, and I was so intoxicated that I opened it and I let them in. Which my point is this. You can play the devil's advocate or whatever and say, well, Matt, you were drunk. It's your fault. No. If there's a drunk girl on the side of the road, doesn't mean I have the right to go over and rape her. Doesn't mean I have the right to go over and kidnap her and take her to her house and go in her house because she's drunk and she lets me in. No. Have some respect for yourself. Have some standards. Have some morals. And no. Just plain no. Someone being unconscious or drunk is not a reason to take advantage of them. And it's not an excuse to take advantage of them. And it doesn't make it okay. So anyways, I wake up and I can feel, like I said, I've felt this before because of my past life when I was younger. Right off the bat, I feel violated. I feel like I've been sexually discharged. I feel like, and I'm saying, this is R-rated content. I feel like I've orgasmed and I don't masturbate and I don't have a girlfriend and I wasn't having any wet dreams or anything like that. And I feel like I've been discharged, like sexually. And also, I'm covered in urine, which is not like me. I never peed the bed as a child. I've never been the type of person to pee places when I'm drunk. I will be the person to give someone one of the guys like, oh, I'm gonna go pee on this wall. No, you dirtbag, go in the bathroom, you filthy animal. Don't pee outside in public. Like, I am very anti-sex public, very anti-urine and feces public. I'm very like clean and reserved and respectful of private time and cleanliness. So not only that, my room is rearranged. My room, like, things are put in places that I would never put them. I do not get up drunk and rearrange my room. I do not, when I get drunk, I crash. I go to bed. I find the first thing soft to lay down on, and I lay and I go to bed. That's why I drink alone at night when I drink. I don't like drinking publicly. I don't like drinking at parties. I would rather smoke weed or do psychedelics or stimulants, not depressants where I'm going to black out and possibly get robbed or raped. I don't. So somehow during this more than 24-hour period, as far as I can remember, it was more than 24 hours. Whatever the case, it was way longer than I'm usually out from the amount I drink. So my guess is that they gave me some type of roofie or date rape drug, because he had already kind of propositioned me, because I'm pretty sure him and his friends and his girlfriend are all bisexual. And there was a couple times before this happened that I walked by his room with the door closed, and he had made sexual comments, but there was no one else in the house. So, like, imagine as if you're a girl or a guy and you're walking by someone's room and all you hear is like, oh, you want to come on in here and be with me? And you're like, what the hell? And like, come on and show me what's up. And then you're just like, and then all of a sudden they're just quiet. And you're like, what the? And for me, I'm not homosexual. So there's like absolutely no temptation or desire or want. So I wake up, I'm covered in urine. I don't think it's my own urine. I feel like I've been sexually discharged. My body feels violated. Everything in my room is backwards. There's moisture, which I'm pretty sure was urine on my food supplies. There's moisture that I'm pretty sure was urine on my plants. I'm pretty sure there was urine in other parts of my room. So someone, I'm pretty sure, decided to pee all over my room, on my food. And every time I would start to eat, before I threw it all away, before I cleaned it and threw it all away and accepted that it had probably been peed on, I could hear them like listening to me and like getting excited and entertained by the fact that I was like using this stuff that had been had been abused. So I eventually confronted him. We had multiple fights, and I'm gonna make a part 2 to this video because I have to go somewhere right now. So I'll leave that part as part 1. And you'll hear part 2 the rest. So leaving off is waking up that morning.